evening, and welcome back to the Dugout Football channel. It is the last Premier League video of the season, and we are going to do a very in-depth review of the 21-22 season. A season that brought fans back to stadiums properly for the very first time. And we had constant debates about VAR, but I'm delighted to be joined by a fabulous panel. And honestly, these guys are doing fantastic jobs, whatever they are doing as well. Maisie Hall from Leeds United, congratulations on becoming the latest member of the 1K Club.
Thank you so much, Doug, and thank you for having me on.
That's a pleasure. And to someone who's absolutely smashing it with loads of views on watch-alongs, on debate shows, it is the lovely Jamie Phillips. How are you, Jamie?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, it's been going well so far. Yeah, it's been going well. Can't complain.
And to my best man, my best friend, really looking forward to 26 days' time. It is Mr. Carl Levy from the Total Levy and Horn podcast. How are you, mate?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's getting closer and closer with the day, man. It's gonna get intense. That's what it is. It's gonna get really anxious with this, but we're hopefully gonna get through this. So. Yeah,
absolutely. And to a man who will always be welcomed on whatever division his club are in, it is Mr. Daniel Moorhouse from Turf Moorhouse TV. How are you, mate?
I'm all right. Can't smile wide enough. But no, thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on, mate. It's really appreciative.
No, not a problem. Let's say hello to, well, there's loads of people in here. Helen, Gary, Niall, Jack, Almighty Blues, Statman Stubbs. Congratulations on your QA, by the way. Wow, 4.2k views. That's absolutely amazing. As well, Balaam, Chris Welsh, Kate, your missus is in as well.
Better behave.
Balaam.
She's not sent me the wine yet. She's still got that wine that he sent up to me.
Marvin James is in as well. Hello, Marvin. He says when Jamie's here, the views will come big time. You watch. Thank you very much. Dan, mate, your lads will be back next year. Sure of it, says Jack. Hello, Michael Talks Football as well. Another fantastic channel as well. But tonight we are going to have a very in-depth review, and we will start from the bottom up because that's what we should do. But remember to like, share, and subscribe. Do what you can to support the channel. I do have a target of being at 1.9k by the time the Premier League season starts, so we will see what happens then. But we will start from the bottom up to the top. We will start with probably the shittest club usually when it comes to these shows, Norwich City. Norwich City. Maisie, is there anything good to say about Norwich City's season?
No, not particularly. I literally can't think of a single good thing apart from, you put on 2 good performances against Man United. Good on their end, bad on our end. But apart from that, not really much. And thank you for taking our lone player for a season.
Yeah, that's true. Jamie, they always seem to finish bottom whenever they come up. Do you think it might be a while before they come up again?
Hopefully. Sick of them. I want to see them again. They come up, spend no money, just keep all the money in the coffers, and then go back down and save that money again. They'll probably be too good to the Championship yet again. Unfortunately, will come back up, but they don't deserve to. They're not. They don't. If you're not going to take a competition that you're in seriously, i.e. the Premier League, you don't deserve to be here. As far as
you should try telling Chef that she needs to get more investment in the club, which is being kind of a bit picky,
Yeah. I mean, Carl. Obviously, it did seem doomed when Daniel Farke was in charge. They did go on and beat Brentford 2-1, but then he was sacked and Dean Smith was brought. Looking back on it now, do you think Dean Smith is the right man taking Norwich forward?
I think he is the right man to take it forward. I know what happened at Villa towards the end. It wasn't, he wasn't getting the best out of the players, and that's why they had to replace him with Gerrard. But I think he's the right man for a club. We've got some very good youngsters with Adam Adair. I think one of the defenders who's just on a new long-term contract, which is good. But like I said, when I hear about what's going on with Norwich lately, I think he does need investment. I think he needs investment that's scoring. Putin cannot keep scoring in the Championship, then not scoring much in the Premier League. When he can still score, but it's not much because he's getting older. And I think there's rumours going on with Norwich that they are being linked with some American investor, hopefully buying a bit of stake into the club. That might change the perspective of keeping them up, through this short, medium, long term wise. But like I said, Norwich, they just what they're there for, and this past season. They spent a lot of money, but it wasn't on the right players, So that's what disappointing when you bring like Billy Gilmore, who thought was the right move, just didn't work out at all when you're coming from Chelsea. You should be stayed at Chelsea, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, I'm looking at some of the signings here. Ozan Kabak, Josh Sargent, Milot Rashica, Christos Zolos, Pierre-Lise Milou. I'm not even going to pronounce this one. Placheta? Shemlo Placheta? I think that's how you pronounce it. How many of those would you say are a success?
Yeah, I think that answers the question. When you have to try and narrow it down, if you were to say who's had the better season out of all of them, I don't think you could even pick single one player out. Look at some of the players they loaned out as well. Like they sent Todd Cantwell out to the Championship with Bournemouth, and I'm thinking this is a guy who, last time he was in the Premier League, absolutely ripped it up and were getting rave reviews, and yet you've loaned him back to a Championship club. What's gone on? The only positive I can think of really is that Norwich give themselves a bit more of a glimmer of staying up when they decided to say, "Nah, Frank Lampard's not for us." But other than that, obviously, it worked out in Everton's favour and Norwich bit the bullet. But yeah, Dean Smith, I think he'll get them going again. I think he's the right man to do it. But I think he's got a complete revamp job at Norwich to do. And as I say, I think it's, again, similar to Manchester United, sorry, Maze, but it starts from the top.
I've accepted banner here, there, everywhere this season.
Man, I can't wait to begin the match.
But
brilliant.
I suppose one bit of news, which I think is probably, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Daniel Farke is the new manager of Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yeah, that surprised me when that announcement came because Favre declined to go back to Mönchengladbach. So I think this is the right time he got a job in the Bundesliga. He needs to prove himself. Yeah, he's done well in the reserves, but he needs to go prove he can compete with the other managers in the Bundesliga and get Mönchengladbach in the European places next season. That is going to be a critical one to do.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see what some of you are saying on the love of Norwich City.
And I don't know if I should be offended or actually like that comment.
What's that?
What Kate said about me.
Oh, right. Right. If Norwich and Watford were an analogy, it reminds me of Darren girls at the World Cup draw, all dressed up expecting James Bloody Bond that ended up with Jermaine Genius, absolutely mediocre. Jesus, Chris. Jesus. Jack says, made up Forest up this year. Hopefully give it more a go than Norwich. Yes, definitely. Oh, Jamie reminds me of a mix between Lee Ryan and Ollie White. Oh.
Is that an insult or should I be happy with it? I'm not sure. I don't even know.
Well, Niall says he loves Jamie's London accent, so it reminds him of Lee Ryan from Blue.
Who's Lee Ryan?
Yeah, Lee Ryan's at
He was the wanker one out of the band Blue.
So I'm
Remember our fan base.
Good way, Dan.
Remember our fan base crying we didn't sing Quebec permanently a bullet. Oh, Jesus Christ! I do remember that, Chris. Delighted to see Ed Sheeran. It's just his number one fan on the panel. Jesus Christ. Rashica was disappointing this year. Curse of me thinking that Rashica was going to be a good signing for Norwich. Turned out to be pretty pants. Okay, he'd scored at Anfield, but
I don't think that's Rashica's fault. Like, he plays for a team that doesn't have the ball. I mean,
yeah, definitely. Hello, Del Boy. Brian, nice to see you as well. Norwich and Watford already having their promotion ready for next season. Yeah, we all know how it turns out. They go down, and then the following season they come straight back up.
I don't know about Watford though. I don't know about Watford with their manager next season. I don't know about that. So
oh god, we will literally come on to Watford as well. How he's got that job, well-established top 6 team in Germany, will send them down as well. I really hope not, Jack. You mentioned Gladbach on my German side. Well, what a panel, Douglas. Delighted me to get Ed Sheeran and Lee. Oh, Jesus, Niall. Not trying to offend Jamie. Hello, John Moore. Big up Jack and Douglas. You cheating. Oh, Jesus, cheating. And evening to James Dunlop as well, who I saw on Leicester Till I Die for like the first time. James, give me a wee call if you ever want to be on a podcast. It would be fantastic to get you. Watford. Well, Maisie, 3 managers: Xisco Munoz, Claudio Ranieri, Roy Hodgson. How can you go from Xisco Munoz to Claudio Ranieri to Roy Hodgson?
I'm going to firstly say that Watford are an absolute disgrace for the way they treat the managers. I just want to make that point pretty clear. And based off the managers alone, they deserve to get they deserve to get relegated. And I hope they don't come back up. Because I actually prefer Norwich in the Premier League over Watford just for that reason alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ranieri, he's such a good manager, and it was just the wrong appointment. He's done so well in the Premier League, not just at Leicester, but also at Chelsea. So to go to Watford, where you know you're going to really struggle, I think it was a very weird choice. And in a kind of way, maybe Watford was thinking, oh, he's won the league at Leicester, he'll win the league here. I think that was probably what their thinking was, but he didn't do well, which is not surprising because most of their players are literally strikers. And it's such an unbalanced team. Roy Hodgson coming in, who can't even do anything with that team whatsoever. It was just very, very bad. And I just think Watford have just been absolutely awful. They don't know what they're doing. And I see him 2 seasons' time, just like Norwich. Hopefully, Steve Bruce might come and mess him up a bit more.
Wishful thinking. Jamie, 2 home wins all season for Watford. That's embarrassing.
Totally. You know, I mean, 3 managers, 2 home wins. You might as well just get Elton John back. You know what I mean? You might as well just get Elton John back and put one of his sons in charge because this club's a joke. They're run like my son's school nursery, abysmally, and it's just terrible what's happening over there with Watford because Watford are a big team from the 80s, especially the Graham Taylor years. You know, people. I was alive back then, but them times at Watford are fantastic, and where you see this club now is a real shame because Watford could not be a giant of a club or anything like that, but they should, if they get it properly done right with their fan base and that over in Watford, they could be, you know, a mid-table Premier League team if they did it properly. Yeah. They've got the money there, there's no doubt. But their ownership, I've said this many times, ownerships kill football teams. They're in it for the money, not the football. And they kill football teams. And that's what's happening at Watford. Watford, they just, what's the manager they kept the longest? He got them to the cup final. I can't remember his name.
It was
Javier Garcia.
Yeah, got to a decent position in the league. They kept him for like 2 and a bit years, got to a cup final. Yeah, they got annihilated by City, but it's Man City, isn't it? But then they just got rid of him like that. And I don't see anyone who takes over this Watford job lasting half a year. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. There's no consistency. And for that reason, I think they'll struggle next year. I don't see Watford coming back up. I don't think they've got the players. I think they're going to lose all their best players anyway.
Sarr will go. Yeah, Sarr will definitely go. I don't think he will be there. I don't think he'll be there come the start of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Carl. I mean, I'm obviously looking at the teams already. The players already that look like they're going to be on their way. Ben Foster, Emmanuel Dennis, Ismaila Sarr. I think Joe Pedro will probably go.
Yeah,
Musa Sissoko is going to go. I think that probably Trustakong will probably go. They're definitely going to lose a lot of a lot of players, but same mistakes from Watford this season, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Just same mistakes and not can't even defend. With two winning two home games, and this is what I worry about for Edwards, who's coming from Forest Green Rovers. It's going to be like, damn, I'm going to have to rebuild this squad. This squad is not even is not even quality to try to fight for the league, and especially losing experienced players and good youngsters as well. That is going to be huge. So Watford got a huge rebuild, and I think the puzzles as well have to blame themselves. Thinking they need to give this manager stability. You can't keep firing managers anymore. We've seen that happen at Chelsea. That is going to change completely now since they're going to be taken over. Why can't Watford just do the same and try to stick with the manager, and that's it? You're not going to get success every time when you keep changing managers. You don't.
No, definitely. I like this comment. Watford tick off more managers than I tick off items at work.
Hang on. I have just Googled Lee Ryan.
Yeah.
We move.
I think enough said the better, to be honest with you. But yeah,
I can't tell if Jamie's insulted or if he's happy.
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, be a good sign for top 10 team. Yeah, definitely, Jack. But
I'd have said more like Michael Bublé, but if we were built like Johnny Bravo.
Who's built like Johnny Bravo? Who's built like Johnny Bravo?
Watford is just a clearinghouse for players. Buy him cheap like Dennis and give them exposure in England. Sell high.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2-3 million, weren't they? That's how I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan, I think a lot's been said, and obviously, Watford. The Pozzo regime has seen, I think it's now 22 managers in their short reign. Like, that's way too many managers. It's like they're back to being Chelsea.
Yeah, it started with Dash. To be fair, he was the first one to have been kicked out. He was the first one to have been kicked out, replaced instantly with Zola, and then obviously it went on from that point forward. It's just that the mannerisms are all wrong. The way that as Jamie said it, they're running a football club, ruining a football club. Sorry, and they're just treating it as a business. They're not treating it with the respect that it comes with. And Watford are a laughing stock. Nothing you can say other than that. You've just got to grit your teeth and bear it with them. It comes to something when you've got Ben Foster, who obviously, even though his contract is up, he could have still been fighting for that contract. And at the time, he comes out after the game on the final day of the season and literally calls people out, saying that people haven't been good enough and stuff like that. If it's spilt into the dressing room and there's player unrest as well, that doesn't help things. And you need a team, an actual team. You don't need people, individuals and egos. Sorry, that's another United dig, Maisie. Fucking hell.
I'm pretty sure there'll be plenty more than that.
Sorry.
I'm so looking forward to when we talk about Man United. I'm buzzing. I cannot wait.
But unfortunately, we do have a lovely guest, Dan, on, and unfortunately, Burnley suffered relegation this season. Where did it all go wrong this season?
We've always started a season poorly. To be fair, we've never really hit the ground running from the get go. It's just that, as I said last year, there were 3 worse teams than us. This year, there were a good 5 or 6, and it's just about who managed to get out the mire. We fell short at the final hurdle. It was just one of those. What will be, will be. But, there's a lot of things. You can say that, Dash's tenure while he was there was brilliant, but there was players saying that they were promised certain things and it never came about. Since his departure, the word freedom has been bandied around more than Watford have had managers. So, to be honest, I think the blame has to lie at Dash's feet, in a sense, because his stubbornness to change it, his stubbornness to give people a chance in terms of young players. And I just think that towards the end, it got to a point where he thought his job was safe for life. And obviously, it was a bit of a strange one. It really was.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at some of your players. Obviously, the big one I can obviously say is about Weghorst. He looks like he's going to be going on loan. Are you disappointed with that?
I'm disappointed in him and his mentality, and the fact that these players that we signed in January, we actually went out and said, look, there is a very good chance that we could potentially be a championship club as of next season. We had this conversation with Mislav Orsic. He was willing to come over and he was willing to fight for the cause if we went down. It's the only reason he stayed where he did is because his family got threatened by all the fan base over there. So he stayed. But, you know, for Weghorst to come and then all of a sudden go, oh, no. I'm going to go out on loan. I'll come back when I'm in the Premier League. When you're back in the Premier League. Hold on a minute. You weren't exactly ripping it up, were you? You were missing sitters from 2 or 3 yards. You've had 2 goals all season. The film White Men Can't Jump were based on you because you're 6'7" and can't. Your just heading ability is awful. He is the most technically gifted player I have seen up front for Burnley. He's been brilliant on the ball, but off the ball and his goal scoring prowess, it's just not there anymore. And if anything, I'd rather him go permanently if that's his sort of attitude.
Yeah, you don't want players to, you know, be at the club and, you know, say that they want to basically, like he came out and said that they've got an agreement that I'm not playing in the championship. Well, why did you join? Like why? And this is the thing as well. Like I'm looking at your squad already. Like Ben Mee's gone. Maxwell Cornet, I don't really expect him to stay. I think James Tarkowski's going to be going. I mean, is this now going to be a big rebuild now for Burnley?
Huge, absolutely huge. There's no other way of looking at it. The chairman, to be fair, has gone very quiet since relegation. It's gone very quiet on social media. We still haven't even announced company, but it sounds pretty much like it's a done deal. Another reason, like when we were talking about Farke to Much and Gladbach, that, you know, company went for conversations with them, and to be honest, yeah, cheers, Anthony. It's all right.
Anthony, I'm not. Obviously, I'm meaning this being serious. Obviously, I hope you're all right. First of all, but that was a bad joke. That was a bad joke as well.
There's even a worse joke than that. Bristol City, they are one massive joke.
Yeah. Aye, but I have to say this comment as well. Deitch not willing to move from the 4-4-2 was a killer.
Massive killer, massive. We saw when Michael Jackson came in that. I was waiting for it. We saw tactical changes. We saw a 5-3-2, a 5-4-1. Sort of we've gone Christmas tree sort of formation at one point. And with 3 at the back, and I'm thinking, whoa, we're not used to all this chop change stuff. And I think that's another reason where it went stale. You know what? That comment that came up quickly then, the double relegation, don't rule it out, but I am quietly confident that we will sort of slip under the radar. We are going quietly about our business now.
Yeah.
But who's to say that we're not going to get the right people in? I mean, we've got Wayne Hennessy as number 2. Look at the phenomenal game he had for Wales last night.
Oh, excellent yesterday, absolutely excellent. I mean, Jamie, you did the Wales Ukraine watch along. Do you think Wayne Hennessy is likely to potentially be that goalkeeper for Burnley next season?
Yeah, he'd be a good goalkeeper for Burnley in the Championship. He's a good goalkeeper. I like Wayne Hennessy. Obviously, Pope is the most underrated goalkeeper in England by a country mile. Tremendous goalkeeper. No disrespect to Burnley, but Harry's not at a bigger club. I
agree.
I don't know. I don't know. I know Spurs are looking for a new keeper to take Lloris's spot. They can't. They should go. They should be all over Pope. Should be all over him. Quality goalkeeper.
I always said Spurs would be the Big Six club. If it was ever to go to a Big Six, it'd be Spurs.
I agree. I look at Burnley and I think Maxwell Cornet was the wrong transfer. I don't think they should have gone for someone like him. think they should have gone for someone who the level that Burnley are at, they should be going for players that I look at Southampton's squad, and their squad's not. They got some players in there that I think could suit Burnley. I just think Dyche, you know, when you can be at a club for just too long. You can be at a club for too long. And I think with Dyche, he was just at the same club for too long. And it's the same scenario every single season. And the problem with this Premier League now, like Dan says, Burnley always have a slow start to Premier Leagues. You can't afford a slow start no more. It catches you up at the end. Brentford had a...
Adapt or die now, isn't it, for the Premier League? It's so much changes every season. It's adapt or die, and that's what you've got to do.
Straight away, look at Brentford. They came into the Premier League, had a great start to it, and then around January, they fell away quite heavily and almost got sucked into relegation, but came back with a few more wins. And that's what keeps you in the Premier League till go next season. And, Burnley, I think their slow start cost them, and I think their transfer... window cost them at the same time. But I think Dyche is a very good manager, very underrated manager. Also, he's a massive Liverpool fan, so I do like Dyche. And not a lot of people know that.
Beyond the Horizon, thank you very much. Guys, if you are new, please consider subscribing. I am on the road to 1.9k, so we can get there as soon as possible. That would be amazing. Continue, Jamie, sorry.
You're right. And so I just feel like Dyche might have just been there a bit. I call him Dyche, like he's my best mate. I just think he was just there a bit too long for Burnley. You saw when old Jacko took over, they tried to adapt in a different way of playing, and it worked for a while because teams were like, "What the hell are Burnley doing?" And I think it caught them off by surprise. But then they just ain't got the quality in their squad to play that way at the moment. But I think if you gave him a full pre-season and season or something like that to change the style of Burnley, I think you'll see a better team there. But that's my opinions anyway. I'm not like, it's not like I watch Burnley every week, but what I see from the outside, they're the things I see and think they did.
Can I just add one thing as well, that I just want to point out to a lot of Burnley fans as well that keep going, when the Vincent Kompany, announcement eventually comes out, people, this fans going, oh my God, we've been relegated, we're getting this unknown quantity in. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. The likes of Gerrard, the likes of Lampard, they're unknown quantities, and they've gone about and done their business. Yeah. And then I say, if you want to look closer to home, Sean Dyche was an unknown quantity because he'd had, one or two games at Watford, that was it. And then we took a risk. I still go on my Facebook memories and I can see me going, fucking hell, Burnley, cheap option. Why Dash? I deleted it after I'd seen it about 3 years in a row. But, I questioned it at first. I did question it. And I think fans need to realise that, let's stop thinking we're massive because we're not. We're a fucking laughing stock at the moment. We've been relegated and it's all gone quiet.
I have to say that Vincent Kompany was a fantastic captain in the Premier League. Like, for Manchester City, he was probably one of the greatest captains that I could think of. Like, obviously, Andrew says here that Vincent Kompany, in my view, is the greatest captain in the English Premier League era. I wouldn't argue against that or anything, but
that's true. Yeah, because I will say in the top 5, Kompany's in there along with Vieira, Keane, Gerrard. Probably Terry, they one of the top 5. You were thinking this had that leadership, and he had that, when he first came, to City. So
Maisie, out of the 3 that have obviously gone down, which you can say all 3 if you want to, but which club do you think is likely to come back up immediately?
Norwich. I honestly think it's going to be Norwich by a long shot because the thing is with this Norwich squad, the 2 go for the Championship, but the 2 crap for the Premier League. And when they come into the Premier League, they don't invest into staying into the Premier League. And that is the thing what really costs them. Watford will probably go up. I think the hardest challenge is going to be Burnley. I'm sorry, Dan, but based off how the squad is right now, it is going to be a struggle for Burnley to come back up. But the thing is, I think Vincent Kompany, when he does come in, he needs to massively shuffle up the squad. I think he needs to look at a younger kind of squad because a lot of your players are over the age of 30. So to get longer term investments, look at how, for instance, how Lampard done with Derby in the Championship. Look at that kind of approach and go from there with the Burnley
No, I
squad.
agree with you.
That's what
I think that's why we've brought Company in, because obviously you look at the Anderlecht squad, it's pretty young. He's delved into the youth system. And I think Alan Pace wants that as well. That was one of his main things when he came in, that he wants to bleed youth through. He wants Burnley to become sort of like the northern epicenter of talent. And it's going to take a long process. But if that's his dream and that's his belief, then we've got to sit and wait for that. But, you know, football's a gamble. We all know that. And we'll just see. Next season's going to be interesting.
Yeah, certainly is. But we will move on because we still have a lot to discuss. But those are the three that did go down. Now, to two teams who I could kind of say were pretty fortunate to survive. And we will come to, obviously, Leeds United, who did eventually finish 17th. Obviously, congratulations on obviously surviving, Carl. But you have to say, this season alone, I think you've made big mistakes. That defence is absolutely shocking. 79 goals conceded, and to stay in the league is, quite frankly, preposterous. You've received more yellow cards than I think I've ever seen. I think it was like about 101.
Yeah, I just seen it. I just thought that thinking it was
That's
definitely
a Premier League record now, by the way. That is
a record.
A Premier League record.
That is a Premier League. That is a Premier League record. So going forward next season, Carl, what do you think has to happen for Jesse Marsh to obviously, survive and, be even better than last season?
Get the players on board and get the transfer. We started the transfer window a lot earlier. We got Brendan Harrison from Salzburg finally after the mess that was told that we could get him in January. Turns out the rumors were when Eddie Gray came out and talked about last week of the week, saying that the board wanted to sign players, but not Bielsa. So there were some rules that Bielsa wanted players, but it was some what I heard that the players, Bielsa wanted players, but the board refused. Turns out it might be the other way around. So there's been a lot of mix-up. There's been a lot of mixed communication from the club, badly from up and down. And listen, Jesse Marsh was always going to be our manager no matter what, if Bielsa was still there in the season. And I was talking to my dad about this last night. I said, tactically, we were sussed out. Tactically, we were sussed out completely under Bielsa with his man market. I said, "Where's the plan, Dad?" I said, and my dad couldn't even respond to that because he knows I was right about it. But what Marsh has done is put the belief into place, because they realized doing a double session murder ball was so bad. It had a bad effect to the players. The players, just no communication between the players and Bielsa. You've seen that different now under Marsh. I know Marsh has got a lot to prove after what happened at Leipzig for that most of last season. I know he wasn't the right man, but I think him having that 7th day up, he never thought about relegation, but he did what he has thought. He does need better players, and I think getting players like Harrison and hopefully getting a couple more will help us. We have been linked to a little bit more players than we have done a lot earlier. I forget getting Ramos Carlson from Salzburg as well. So actually, we're getting the areas that we need to cover, because the right back has been an issue. So has the wing, because we don't know what will happen with Rafinha, because the situation with Barcelona is gone quiet because Barcelona's finances are so bad. The guy at EGM, think after next week they'll decide they have to get more investment in the club to clear off the debt, and then they can get him. But we will see. Yeah. But I think we are trying to get players in now, and I think if we get players like Lewis O'Brien from Huddersfield that will be linked with a lot, I think we will. I think there could be a better investment, and I think we will get someone alongside Patrick Bradford. I think our formation will change next season. I think we'll go with the 4-2-2-2-2, because if Marsh wants to get help Bradford not to relieve pressure on himself, we do need another striker up front, and I don't think Rodrigo, it makes sense. So that's why we hopefully are getting the players that we need and improve defensively as well. So that is the next part we're going to do. We'll just need to improve. But I think the club will get taken over by the 49ers as well. That will happen this summer, because they are putting the money in now, for what I'm hearing. So I think there will be a huge change behind the scenes, which we think the 49ers will invest hugely in the club now and the infrastructure over the next 10 plus years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, amazing. I'm just looking at like the signings that they made last summer. Obviously, Dan James. I mean, Manchester United fans have had a lot to say about obviously Dan James, especially one of my friends, Reese, as we all know. Junior Firpo, that's been an absolute disastrous signing, in my opinion. And you just look as well. Like, none of the signings that they made sense for me. I don't know about you, Maisie, but none of the signings that they made sense to me.
No, they didn't really make sense to me either. I knew Dan James, he was wanted at Leeds for a long time.
For a long time, I know.
So we always knew it was going to happen, but of course we took him first. I think he made the wrong move by going to us first and then coming to use. But I think that, I don't know. I just think none of them really did make sense for me. I think Leeds, they got signings in the wrong areas, because I feel like they needed the right back, they needed a centre back. I even say they needed a goalkeeper, in my opinion, just because
I agree.
With how Melia is, he's so young. I think at times he can get bullied, especially knowing when there's corners and set pieces. I think he can be really bullied. So I think the investment, when there was investment for Leeds, there was in the wrong areas, and I do think Leeds should have really put a lot more into January. I heard it was Bielsa, he rejected it, but when you're having to resort to play your under 18s because you've got that many injuries, you can't be stubborn in the Premier League. The Premier League is.
It was Bielsa's idea. He wanted that for obvious reasons. It was, the club tried to tell him we needed players, but he was stubborn.
Yeah,
and that's why I think the recruitment was so bad. I feel sorry for Firpo, because in a way he didn't have much games at Barcelona. The way he went from Betis to Barcelona, he kind of was a third left back, and he wasn't used as much. So he had not much games.
Funnily enough, you mentioned that, Jamie. We remember when Liverpool were linked with Junior Firpo. Everyone was saying we should go for Junior Firpo. Another bullet dodged there.
Oh man, there's so many. Yeah, Firpo. Useless, absolute useless. Daniel James, when he hits puberty, he's going to be a good player. When he looks 10 years old, the man is just like, he's going to be good. I watched him for Wales last night, and he was decent. Look, Dan James could be a decent player. He's just got to be coached correctly, and he just needs to mature and grow a bit. Because when they were doing the lineup of the team, the camera was going like that. The man just needs. The kid just needs to grow, mature a little bit. He could be a very decent footballer for Leeds United, in my opinion. I think he could be a good player for him. Melanago, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
In my life. I have no idea why people big up this kid or even talk about him. He's such a bang average goalkeeper. Mistake after mistake. He looks like, look, my 3-year-old boy's as big as him. I mean, he's got no presence in goal. None.
Yeah.
I think some of the coaching was quite bad, and that's how Bielsa was not helpful with that, And I think that what needed to change, we needed to change going forward, because I think we are going to get a new goalkeeping coach, because I heard that some of them they've left as well, or it's still part of the club because they weren't under Bielsa's backroom staff. So I think there will be some changes in the back staff changes to help it. But we are looking at a goalkeeper, because that's something we do need to do.
I do have to ask you this. Is Kiko Casilla still a Leeds player or not?
He's still a Leeds player. He has come back. But
my God. Just get rid of him.
We are getting rid of him.
Just rip his contract up. He is the worst goalkeeper I have seen.
Yeah. And
he is the worst goalkeeper I've ever seen.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. But I think it's down with his agent to get the conversation with determination. But the club are looking at that to get rid of him. That is he won't be. I don't think Mark will pick him in the squad. He won't have the shirt number.
No. Good evening to Declan. I hope you're good. He's asked, Carl, do you think Calvin Phillips will stay?
He's going to Liverpool.
This is a question though, because Calvin Phillips. When I spoke to my dad last night, and I said he wants to sign a new contract, but he's not going to do it yet. I think he wants to know what will happen with the squad this summer with the transfer window. Then that's what Calvin Phillips is not going to do. You know, wanted to say anything yet until what's happening in the transfer window to get cover players that can bit more depth but more quality. Get more quality in that squad, because that's something we downside that first was missing when we had that Forshaw being, you know, who's not his past his best. Then Click had his really weird season. That's what we need cover for Phillips, who's a like for like, and that's why I think it's a question of the situation. What Phillips is going to think about, and this is what my dad said: is Phillips going to stay with Leeds to win trophies? Probably not. Does he want to go to a top 6 club that is going to win trophies? Yes. In the doubt of mind, yes. Would he want to go to a top 6 club that you don't play a lot of games, you're not in the English squad? That's another question he needs to answer himself. If he stays at Leeds, who have more games, he will still stay in the English squad. It's an interesting debate at the moment with some of these fans. As long as we can recoup the money from both either Rafinha or Phillips, we'll be fine. We have enough to cover to try to kind of, because we've lost one of our under 23 players, Kenneth, who's gone to Hibs, which was very surprising because he was the next in line, under 23, but we never gave him a new contract. So he's not at Hibs. So it is a bit disappointing in a way, but we do need to invest really quickly and get the right players and get bodies in, because we do need not to fight in the relegation battle again next season. I don't want to. I think Marsh will have a proper season where he gets his tactics right, because he didn't have time. If it was the pre-season January, he would have had time. But because of it was late in the season, what he was supposed to do, he had to do the best that he can with the squad that we had. So it will be seen what's going to be decided this summer come August.
I think Calvin Phillips will be a Liverpool player by the first game.
Don't say that.
I think he's more a City player, because City looked at his own take.
He ain't going to play for City. That's the problem.
He won't get his game at City because he'll have to try and usurp Rodri.
That's the thing. Yeah.
That ain't happening. So that ain't happening.
He ain't going to United, so he ain't going to go United.
Yeah.
Don't break my heart like this. I've wanted him since before
you know
the Premier League. Don't say that to me.
Listen, do you want Calvin Phillips' granny come at you as a ghost and say you don't touch Smith? No, right? She's will be on Man United fans completely. So
I still want him. Want him.
But we move from one very poor Leeds side to probably the worst Everton side I have ever seen, and they still managed to survive. Maisie, sorry, Dan, I will come to you first. Who in their right mind had the idea of spending £40 million on Dele Alli?
Some idiot called Mashiri. Basically, the Mel Morris of the Premier League. He's tried to do a derby. He's tried to throw money at it and expect it to work in the Premier League. It's not. It's bit him in the arse, and there's still potential repercussions going to come of it, because obviously ourselves and Leeds mentioned it. I think Leeds have still continued it, haven't they, Carl?
Yeah, Leeds are still continuing along with Burnley at the moment, so we don't know where this is going to go with that one, because I do know it depends. It'll be, if there's compensation for both clubs, how it's going to split. It's the same scenario what will happen with Sheffield United when West Ham relegated them because of tennis the third ownership. It's that scenario again with the transfer stuff, so it's going to be that compensation situation. So
I'm still pissed off with Everton as well, because of the fact that you get Richarlison throwing a flare back into the fans, but yet his ban only comes out at the end of the season, when yet his 3 or 4 goals in the games after that are what helps save Everton's arse.
I mean, the thing is as well, Maisie, you look at the squad. I mean, obviously Donny van de Beek is obviously going back to Manchester United, but Mykolenko, that's been a good signing. I think Mykolenko's a very, very good signing, but it's after that. Solomon Rondon. Oh dear. Oh dear. Who else? I mean, Nathan Patterson hasn't had his chance.
Who else was it? Damari Gray was another one. Townsend was another one. You know what?
He's been.
What I don't understand is, why would Everton bring in Rafa Benitez? That was the worst appointment you could genuinely even think about. You know that Rafa Benitez is all for Liverpool. And you know what? He's a bit like the evil Steve Bruce, where he set them up to fail. The
Evil
way he
Steve
put that
Bruce.
squad, he wanted them relegated. He wanted them relegated. He really did. But that Everton side is, I agree, the worst Everton side I have seen. And how we have picked up 1 out of 6 points against this Everton side is embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah, I think enough is said. But I mean, Jamie, they almost went down. Had to, you did the watch along as well. Everton, Crystal Palace on, was it the 1892 Reds show as well? And Jesus Christ, I mean, how they survived, I'll never know. But Everton are going to struggle next season, aren't they?
Yeah, 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 they are. Yeah, they're going to struggle bad because Frank Lampard's won their manager, and so they got awful ownership. Again, another team that's a big team in this country is being owned by people that have no idea what they're doing. Absolutely no idea. They have spent so much money, and look at the players they have bought that didn't work. And there's no scouting at Everton. They just go and buy players for the sake of buying players. They're an awful, awful football team. And you look at the player like Rondon. Whose idea was that? Jesus. I mean,
his highlight was a 2-footed challenge on Rico Henry against Brentford. Got sent off immediately.
Just awful footballer. And Dele Alli. I mean, these football
£40 million.
These football.
Well, actually, the guy with the freebie for they paid the full 40. They're like, oh, we'll pay the 40 after next season. Most of the 40 this coming season. So
it's awful. It's just awful. The man's finished as a footballer. Dele Alli will never ever be what he was at Tottenham. I'm telling you right now. I think with Dele Alli, he's got more issues off the pitch. I think he needs to get sorted mentally, and then he'll be back. But yeah, Everton Football Club are a joke. I don't see them being any different because next season they've still got no money to spend because it's financial fair play stuff. Because they wasted so much money and didn't sell anything that they got so much they can't actually use any money. So I don't see them doing any transfer business in the summer. I think they're going to really struggle. And Frank Lampard's just the wrong choice. And I hear Evertonians say Frank Lampard kept us up. He's the man. He put you there in the first place. I mean, you were 6 points above relegation zone with Rafa, and then Lampard put you in the relegation zone and then got you back out on the final day thanks to the charity work from Crystal Palace. I mean, this is charity work at the end of the day. They were 2-0 up, coasting. Everton, that was their big game, their comeback game. And look, they stayed up with the skin in their teeth. But if they continue to play like this into next season, they're going to really, really struggle because.
I mean, sorry to any Everton fans, but you've literally had your best moment since 1995. That pitch invasion against Crystal Palace, very, very well done, very, very well done. And to Patrick Vieira, who kicked that Everton fan.
Oh no, he deserved it, man. You don't mess with one of the hardest bars of the Premier League era. You don't, So. And
Richarlison lived up to his name, big cock. Jesus Christ! Absolutely hate him as a footballer. Absolutely hate him as a footballer. But this was the worrying thing, and I think someone put this very, very well the other day. Whoever's making the decisions at Everton, like the board are completely divided. Like one of the board members, Mashiri wanted Benitez. I think the Bill Kenwright. I think I remember James saying this. Kenwright wanted. I think it was Martinez, and there was another one like Walton Koeman. Like whoever's making the decisions, like they're so far divided. It's just ridiculous.
It's funny.
Actually, because they got no director of football who can't even do nothing.
Oh at all. Christ, they need more than a director of football anyway.
They need someone to put them in the right direction, and I don't think that's going to be anytime soon.
Yeah, but yeah, I will ask the panel this, and just say a yes or no answer. Are Leeds and Everton going to struggle next season?
Yeah.
Without proper investment, yeah.
Yeah.
Carl?
No, because I'm a Leeds fan. I think more determination, so I'm saying no.
Okay, interesting.
I'm
But
not putting my whole team down every single next season. I'm not doing that. I don't do that.
Yeah, disappointing seasons for Southampton and Aston Villa, Maisie.
Yeah, I think the more disappointing one for me would probably have to be Aston Villa. As much as they both are disappointing, with Aston Villa, they've got a decent squad. I know they've lost Jack Grealish, but that Jack Grealish funding, they still got decent players in there. I know they've had Dean Smith was still a decent manager before he got sacked, and then they've got Steven Gerrard, who won the league at Rangers, who is invincible, who's got European experience. So in that kind of respect, you would actually expect Aston Villa to do a whole lot better than what they are doing, because that squad easily is a mid-table team. Southampton, for me, I was a bit iffy with them because a part of me thought they wasn't going to do well because they lost like Danny Ings, they lost Vestergaard, but under the same breath, they still got the best set piece maker in the league, Ward-Prowse. Hasenhüttl is a very underrated manager, in my opinion. The way he sets up that team, I think it's great. But Southampton is, in a way, their formation isn't that good. They're playing the 4-4-2. That's not... I hate that formation. I really hate that formation, by the way. But if you
want to try watching it week in, week out?
I don't want to. I really don't want to. But if you want to succeed in the Premier League, you need to look at the likes of the 4-3-3, because that is title-winning teams. You look at the diamond formation, what works when you're a defensive team. You don't look at, for instance, a 4-4-2 where you're losing out on players. You're bringing in the Armstrong from Blackburn Rovers, who hasn't had even a single Premier League minute, to think, he's going to replace Danny Ings and he's going to bang me in 20 goals.
Just gone up in my estimation now, Maisie. Well done.
I thought I was already up there, Dan, but nice to know.
You are. Oh, you're above the rest.
My heart is pumping like mad now.
No, it's just Jamie, you have been a big advocate in saying this. Villa have no pace in their
word. Then I thought we were going to say arsehole or something like that. I thought no. Honestly, whenever I've spoken to Jamie or actually seen him on like Premier League prediction streams, this one thing he keeps saying: Villa have no pace, and it's been proven this season, isn't it?
Yeah, they're paceless. Villa are very easy to play against. They're very easy to play against because teams like to play high pressure football now. Even like mid-table teams like to play high pressing football, unless you're Man United. But most of these mid-table teams, most of these mid-table teams like to play high-pressing football, high-energy football, and that's why they get results against Aston Villa, because you can push up against a Villa side and not get caught in behind. There's no ball over the top where anyone's going to run onto, because Coutinho and Buendia, they like ball to feet. Ollie Watkins is a human statue. The man is a mannequin. I'm telling you. Has anyone ever seen the film Mannequin? That's Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
Right? The man comes alive. It's make believe, He's useless, and there's no pace in behind. And I like John McGinn. I think he's a very good midfielder. I don't think he gets the credit people talk about him back because he's Scottish and he plays for Villa. But he's a very good midfielder. Matty Cash is a very good fullback. I like Matty Cash. Martinez is a so goalkeeper. I think there's too much about. I don't get the raving about him, to be honest. He had 6 good weeks at Arsenal. All of a sudden, he's like this good. No, thank you. Mings is the worst centre back I've ever seen in Premier League history, and
he's a better left back than he is centre back.
And I've seen Gary Mabbott. The man is absolutely terrible. I've never seen a worse centre back than Mings in my life. You bought Callum Chamberlain to be his partner at the centre back problem. You wonder why you have a problem conceding goals. Can I go on? The midfield, who's the geezer they got in midfield next to? What's his name? Is it
Douglas Luiz?
The pretend Brazilian geezer.
Douglas Luiz, yeah.
Fake Brazilian. So many fake Brazilians in the Premier League. Does my head in. this fake Brazilian is probably actually from Peru. If you look at your Czechoslovakia or something like that, if you look at his passport, man, it's fake. You know when you go to Turkey and you get a fake Liverpool shirt and it looks quality.
Yeah,
really, it's not the real thing. That is Douglas Luiz as a Brazilian. The man's fake. Their midfield is not good enough. Stevie Gerrard, I don't think is good enough yet as a manager, and that's why I've always said I don't want him as Liverpool manager after Jurgen Klopp, and I'll keep saying that. He's got a lot to prove for me still. I think he's very lucky that he got the Villa job. I think he's still very, very lucky he got the Villa job. And I think there's a lot to go at Villa, and I don't see any improvements next season. The players they're already buying in are bang average footballers. Bang average for ridiculous money. The centre-back from Sevilla. He makes Lovren look like Van Dijk. The man
He's awful. He is fucking awful, by the way. Diego Carlos.
They could have gone from Kunde, man. He had the money.
Oh, I just don't understand Villa at all. But there you go. That's
awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah, I mean, Carl, I'm going to ask a bit of a serious question now. Firstly, on Southampton, do you think Ralph Hasenhüttl's taken the club as far as he can? And secondly, do you think Gerrard is under real pressure next season to get Villa where they want to be?
First question, yes, I think Russell has taken as far as he can. I think that's completely he's gone. It's been too long now. Especially when you started so well in the top half. I think it was last season, the season before. They started well. They was in the top 4, and it just dropped so much. And and since then they just not recovered. And then second on Gerrard, it's gonna be a tough season for Gerrard because he's got to get the players that he wants. He's seen that Ings has not been money that is well spent. Bailey's been injured. I say as a fellow Jamaican, I feel sorry for him because he's been injured. I know he's got really good pace when he at Bayer Leverkusen. It's just he's got to get right, and I think it's gonna be a lot of issues getting rid of the players, the deadwood players. He's gonna have problems with that.
Oh, Christ,
and even Konza as well. I think he's trying to get rid of that, and I think we're getting either Luis Suarez in. How's that for a 35-year-old still can make a difference? I understand what he's trying to do, but Villa's going to be a lot of pressure because they're spending huge money, and that's why they're trying to buy players from the rest of the Premier League, left, right, centre, and getting Diego Carlos. Can he improve that defence? I don't know. It's a debatable one because I don't know. Newcastle could have gone for him. I think they backed out. Getting Dan Burn was a very brilliant transfer business and cheaper option as well. So for that matter,
Sebastian, I 100% disagree. He is awful. Diego Carlos is absolutely awful. He will get found out in the Premier League. Honestly, he will get found out.
He got found out most of coming to was in the last season with La Liga with Sevilla. He got found out a lot more.
Yeah. Dan, can you see Southampton being relegation candidates next season?
Yeah. Simple as that. There's no way that they're going to be safe unless they have this miraculous rebuild. Which, to be fair, we've seen it over the past couple of years. They've had to sell. Is there a reason why a manager like Hasenhüttl, who's suffered, major defeats in terms of scorelines, is there a reason why he hasn't been, relieved of his duties and stuff? Because of that, he is a good manager and he is underrated. I think at the right club he'd do really well, but I just think that for him to stick that job out, he's got balls of steel because it's a job that's slowly decreasing. And I thought Southampton were going to be one of them teams, a bit like what Leicester did. They dropped down, and Leeds as well, dropped down to League One. Had a bit of a rebuild, came back up, spent some money, but it's starting to again bite them in the backside. So there's a very good chance that they'll be looking like one of those ready for the drop.
I have to agree with this comment.
Anyone's better than Peter Enkelman, don't get me wrong.
Peter Enkelman, remember him? Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that game against Birmingham. We just couldn't even touch the bottom. Like, what are you doing?
In a derby as well. In a derby as well. But we will go from obviously really bad teams to probably one team that's really impressed me this season, Brentford. What a first season they've had. 49 points, 13th place, Maisie. And the one signing you actually have to say that's really improved them, Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, definitely. Before the Premier League started, I said that Brentford are going to be underdogs. They was very good in the Championship. They had Ivan Toney there, and a player who I do particularly rate is Mbeumo. And the thing is, what I really like about Thomas Frank is that he will adapt to whoever he plays against. He won't be stubborn and use that same formation, the same players week in, week out. That's why you see like Wissa playing, for instance, and you're seeing Mbeumo going from a right wing player to a right striker. You're seeing all different kinds of formations. You've seen a 4-4-2, you've seen a 4-3-3, you've seen a diamond formation of Thomas Frank. He will adapt to whoever you play against and whoever he puts in the squad. I think they've done magnificent at the start of the season, just as we touched on a little bit earlier on when we discussed Burnley. They had a great start, but they did, of course, drop off. And I think Eriksen was that key player who was able to get them out of that relegation fight, to be fairly honest. I think he's been absolutely magnificent, and I think more than anything, Christian Eriksen, knowing especially that he wasn't able to play into Milan, and of course what happened at the Euros, he wanted to show that he's still the player that he was last season, the season before, and he's done absolutely brilliantly. And someone is going to snap him up on the free. A big club will snap him up.
Yeah, definitely. Is anybody worried that they might suffer second season syndrome?
I don't think so. I don't think. Well, I think Brentford now have got the money and can get the core players. From what I've heard, they are opening up their youth academy back up now. Especially the last couple of years, they couldn't do that because it was controversial. They went to put it on the 23 squad instead. They're now bringing the youth academy back, and also I think they've ripped up the money ball concept for the time being because now they can afford. They are going to give Eriksen a big contract for a new contract. From what I'm hearing, I think it's that school take time, but I think he will stay at Brentford. I think his family's happy again being back in London because they've rated London a long time when he was at Spurs. So I think they'll get a few more quality players, and and no doubt as well. I think they could be. I don't think they will suffer the second season syndrome like ourselves nearly did last season. I think that's the difference. I think they will have a bit more better targets because the money ball it works for them. So I think they will get really good players, and I don't think they will be anywhere near the relegation zone.
I mean, from one goalkeeper that you don't really rate, Jamie, to one I particularly rate, David Raya. Imagine if he had been fit all season. I think Brentford might have been higher.
Yeah, he's a tremendous goalkeeper. And also, not just with him either, he's a very good goalkeeper. Rico Henry as well. Henry I don't think anyone's gone past him this season. I don't think he's actually been dribbled past.
He hasn't. I think that's been.
He's a tremendous centre back. I can't remember where he plays now.
He plays as a left back, but he can also play as a left wing back.
He's a great left back, and Brentford. Their start was fantastic, and I don't think anyone knew how to cope with their style the first time round.
Just like what Leeds were the first season, it's just like that now,
With their second season syndrome thing, I think Brentford I think Brentford sort of went through their second season syndrome in the middle of their first season. Like around after Christmas, they sort of free fell, didn't they? And everyone thought, Jesus. And they gave, you remember when Hull were fourth in the Premier League and then didn't win a game after Christmas and got relegated? It was a bit like.
Crikey, I do remember that.
Brentford sort of went like that, and then they sort of got their act together and started scoring goals again. And they got if they can keep some of their players, keep the goalkeeper, keep Thomas Frank, and actually invest in his team, because I know they're a money ball team now. Cole said, if they're going away from that money ball scenario. And they're going to give them a few quid to spend. They spent it in the right areas. Looking at Thomas Frank's one of them new age coaches who knows good footballers. You don't have to be a name that anyone's ever heard of. As long as you're a good footballer and fit his style of play and system, I think that that they will come to the squad and do a good job for them. So, I think Thomas Frank with the way he's doing it at Brentford, I think he will continue doing it. And look, the teams coming up, are they better than Fulham? Yeah. Are they better than Bournemouth? Yeah. Are they better than Notts Forest? Yeah. So when you say that already, for me, they should be fine next season. So yeah, I think Thomas Frank's done a great job. For me, he should have been manager of the year. I mean, he had a team that's never been in the Premier League in their life. Players that hardly ever, don't think have ever been in the Premier League in their life. And and he took them where he took them in the league. I think it's a fantastic job, and I don't think he got enough recognition for it. I know Eddie Howe from Newcastle, but that's the English thing again. It's English tax, ain't it? And Thomas Frank was English. I think he would have won everything.
Dan, were you impressed with Brentford?
I was. I did also fear for them at one point. I thought maybe it's just a little bit too much that, we all have it sometimes. You come to the Premier League, you're on that half run promotion, and then once the reality hits in, you have them run of bad results and you're thinking, shit, we could be in the mire here. But they came into form again at the perfect time in the season and got themselves out of it. And as we've said already, that's testament to Thomas Frank and as Maisie mentioned as well, the acquisition of Christian Eriksen.
Yeah. So it's been a very, very impressive first season as well, and another impressive first season. And shout out to 442's magazine, because you actually said Crystal Palace would finish 20th and Patrick Vieira would be the first manager to be sacked. But I have put there youthful Palace, because Maisie, we all remember what actually happened when Roy Hodgson left them. They were a very aging side. Patrick Vieira decided to call the squad, and he brought in younger players, and players like Guehi, Tyrick Mitchell, and obviously the other one there I have to mention, Conor Gallagher, have definitely impressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hold my hands up. I said Patrick Vieira was going to get sacked. I hold my hands up about that, and the reason for that, you look at Patrick Vieira's history as a manager, and I thought, he's not going to hack it in the Premier League. If he can't do it in other leagues, what makes him think he's going to do it in the Premier League? But the thing is, he took a big, massive risk taking the Crystal Palace side out of the comfort zone for not just the team in itself, but also the fans. in the respect of, you've seen so much defensive football in the past, part the bus football for years, and then to come to Patrick Vieira, where it's attacking-minded football. Yes, maybe defensively they could have improved in some areas, but he's brought the best out of Zaha. Edouard, he scored on his debut a very quick goal as well. Conor Gallagher, he's played magnificent. He got his debut in the England squad. Tyreek Mitchell, the exact same. You're looking at that, and that's all down to Patrick Vieira. And you're looking, you as a young player, you couldn't ask for a better manager than Patrick Vieira, a legend in the Premier League. As we've already touched on, one of the greatest captains in Premier League history to coach you, especially for someone who's in the midfield as well. To get coached by the Patrick Vieira, it is very good, let's just be honest. But I was very surprised by Patrick Vieira, and I think what he needs now is a little bit more investment, because he needs to be careful that he doesn't get sniffed out in this second season for him, because the way he plays and looking at the Premier League already, he conceded 46 goals and he scored 50. So he needs to be extremely careful in that respect.
Yeah, definitely. And
I think one person not mentioned who should be getting credit for this is Dougie Freeman. I think he knew when he was doing what he was doing. I think he was waiting for that moment when Hodgson was going to go, thinking this needs to rip. We need to rip up the start again. He had the plan what he wanted Palace to play, because we know it didn't work under the Burr a couple of years ago. I think he was waiting for the right man, thinking let's just wait under I think he deserves a lot more credit along with Vieira. Them two have been a brilliant combo of manager and director of football this past season.
Yeah, that is well said as well. Jamie, where do you think Palace should strengthen next season?
All over the pitch. That's not me taking the piss, by the way. I just think I like what Patrick Vieira's doing at Crystal Palace. I remember, I think I heard Arsenal fans saying that they have the best young talent in the Premier League, also Europe, by the way, morons. But when I look at the best young talent, I think most of them play for Crystal Palace, to be fair. They got some exceptional young talent. Eze, Elise, they're better than some of the Arsenal young guys. And Mitchell, and is it Gueye? Is that how you say that?
Gueye, yeah.
Tremendous players. And you got to remember, when Patrick Vieira took over Crystal Palace, they didn't have a squad. They didn't have enough players to have a squad to register in the Premier League. So he had to get all these young players in. And what he's done, for me, is tremendous. When you got that Roy Hodgson stink all over your football club for 4 years, you've got to get rid of it. To do the way he's got rid of it so quickly by making footballers believe in themselves that they can make that dangerous 5-yard pass, where before under Roy Hodgson it'd be the sideway, keep it safe. Let's try not to lose this game. Patrick Vieira goes into matches wanting to win games. I think that's why he concedes quite a few as well. So that's why I'm saying strengthen all over the place. You know, get some maybe some a bit more experience in certain areas to go with them younger legs as well. And the midfield area, definitely, I think they could do with a proper DM and maybe a more of an experienced centre-back to come in at times as well. And a striker, they could definitely do with an out-and-out finisher. I think they need an out-and-out finisher. Jordan Ayew got some goals towards the end of the season. Benteke's just Benteke. And you just got... They just need that. I think Wilfred Zaha, you can't keep relying on Wilfred Zaha to get the goals of Crystal Palace year in, year out. So if they can get forward, I think Palace will be really good next season.
See, I think they've gone away from relying on Wilfred Zaha now. I think there's goals all around the team because you've got Mateta, who I think is who is very, very a very good striker as well. You know, Jordan Ayew's still scoring goals as well. But I think the main question, Dan, I'm just seeing Anthony's comment. Where's Conor Gallagher going to play his football next season, do you think?
He's not going to be at Chelsea. It's definitely not going to be at Chelsea. I don't think he'll fit into Tuchel's plans. There's too many half-decent midfielders at Chelsea at the moment. And is it a Chelsea going to look at it and think, another loan move may be the answer, but then is another loan move what he wants? He's at that time in his career now where he's going to think, if I want to become a bit of an England regular and think about my career going forward, I need that perfect move for me. A team like Leeds, the way they play, would be perfect for him in midfield.
We tried to get him last season and we missed out on Palace, and Palace got the upper hand on us. So that was the issue we had. I think the same with Conor, and I agree. He needs to move with Chelsea. But because if they're going to get rid of Loftus-Cheek, who's going to Inter Milan on loan, they need someone to be that homegrown status to keep. So it's a bit of a complex situation that he's under at the moment. You know, he could. So he's got to have a decision to decide in a few weeks' time about his England career. Just say to Callum Phillips, you got to decide where to go to. You want to keep your place in the England squad.
Yeah, Jamie, would you take Gallagher at Liverpool?
No.
I don't think you would. Not when you've just signed Carvalho as well.
Yeah. Exactly. But I don't know. I see him at. I don't understand why he wouldn't go at Chelsea. I look at Chelsea's midfield. You've got Jorginho, who I'm quicker than that, and I've got a limp. You've got Kovacic, who always seems to get the odd injury here and there, and never can play a full season, really. Who else? Would you have bum cheek, Loftus bum cheek, or would you rather have? He's a bum. The bloke's a bum. He's big. What is he? 28 years old. Never done.
Ross Barkley's worse.
How Ross Barkley's still at Chelsea? I'll never know.
You got Ross Barkley, bum cheek. I would rather have Conor Gallagher out of all them in my midfield. Thomas Tuchel's a fraud as well. I can't wait till we get to Chelsea. Man's a fraud. So I
You
would
talk
say,
like what you talk, don't you, Jim? You talk, and I give you that.
Just tell us how you really feel, Jamie. Just tell us how you really feel.
I would have Conor Gallagher in that midfield for Chelsea next season. I mean, you compare him to Mason Mount. Is there a lot of difference? I don't think so.
Yeah, nah, I don't really. I will go into Newcastle, but very, very quickly, Michael Talks Football. Thank you so much for the €10 super chat there. Absolutely amazing. So thank you very, very much. I got busy, but let's say this about company becoming Burnley manager. I like that Burnley are going in a new direction, but it's a very bold decision by the board, especially in the Championship. Well, Michael, thank you very much for that. Dan, do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. It is. It's a very bold move, and just fingers crossed that we reap the benefits of it, and it comes good. I can only hope. Fingers crossed, and what will be will be. Let's hope for a successful season.
Yeah, to Newcastle now. I mean, they were bottom of the league with 7 points. Eddie Howe comes in and gets them 11th place. So you have to say that credit has to go to Eddie Howe, doesn't it, Maisie?
You know what? Before this season started, I predicted Newcastle to go down, and I was so happy. I was thinking,
I almost did as well, to be fair.
I was literally thinking, finally, these lot can go down. I'm sick of Steve Bruce ball. I'm sick of everything about Newcastle. I want them gone. I just want them gone. That's how I felt like about Newcastle. And then, of course, they had these rich owners who comes in, sack Steve Bruce because they have ambitions. And of course, they've got 100 million spent in this transfer window. And you've got to credit Eddie Howe. I know he had a tough test when it came in at the start when he came in, but I think he'd done really well in terms of getting that draw against Manchester United, for instance. I think that was the start of Eddie Howe. And we got to really see what Eddie Howe was really about, because we always say it takes 6 to 12 weeks for a player to adapt to training, and that would seem to be the case of Eddie Howe, because he's so strict in terms of his training, and he brought the best out of Joe Linton, Joe Linton was a laughing stock at Newcastle.
Most improved player for me. Improved player for me.
I agree. And he was their player of the season. I honestly believe he was their player of the season as well. And Bruno Guimaraes, what a signing he is. And
fantastic.
I am so jealous of him. It is brilliant. Dan Burn, as we've touched on earlier, another great signing. I just think that his concentration isn't always there. But in terms of improvements for Newcastle, I think they can improve. I think they will probably try and aim for Europa Conference League next season.
Interesting.
I really do. I think that's where they'll aim at. And I think if they do want to do that, they do need to invest again. They need another fullback. They need a goalkeeper. They need 2 strikers. They do need to invest massively. But with the owners that they do have, who has that ambition, because they've clearly got a plan. Like what Liverpool had under Klopp, just like what City had under Pep Guardiola. They've got a plan of what they want to have for their club in the next 5 years, and obviously the next 5 years for them will be Champions League football, where they'd probably think, right, Conference League, get some new signings. As soon as we get into there, we can look at getting European players who's got this European experience, who wants to play for us then. And I think perhaps maybe when that time comes where they get to the Europa League or Champions League, they might even have a change of manager. Maybe
Michael,
might see what's his face from Villarreal. Him.
Danjuma. Aye. Michael does well with another super chat. Thank you very much, Jamie. Relax on Tuchel. He's the same amount of Champions League as Klopp and has to deal with a Timberland diva model.
What's that shit? I hate these shit excuses. He had to deal with that signing. He's got 100 million to spend on the striker. And look, the same thing about Klopp's got issues himself.
Lukaku has been
it just does my head in. So Tuchel, Jurgen Klopp would have got, if he won the Champions League, Jurgen Klopp would have had 2, the same as Alex Ferguson. But he's not as good as a manager as Alex Ferguson.
No.
The only manager that's won the league in Germany in the last 10 years is Jurgen bloody Klopp that don't manage Bayern Munich. Tuchel took over his Dortmund side and ruined it. Never won the league title over there. So can we stop with it? Look, Tuchel is a good manager. I'm not saying he's rubbish or I'm not saying he's crap or anything like that. He's a very, very good manager. But I think people overrate people all the time. And I got told that Tuchel was on Klopp's level. He's equal to Klopp. I heard Chelsea fans in the summer, Tuchel is a better manager than Jurgen Klopp because he's got a better win rate at Dortmund than Jurgen Klopp.
No,
people went, did he have back-to-back titles at Borussia?
No, he didn't.
The answer is no. So stop saying, oh, God's sake. And he is a fraud in comparison to what Chelsea fans say. Exactly is. Exactly is. He finished almost 20 points behind us. I'm not having all this. He lost Chigwell. Yeah, Chigwell. He lost Chigwell, not
Chigwell.
Yeah, Chigwell, because he looks like an Essex boy, don't he? They lost Chigwell, right, at left back, and their whole season went kaput, and they didn't know what to do with it. By the way, last season, when we didn't have no one in our squad because they were all injured and out for the year, and Chelsea still had a better squad than us, we finished above them in the league. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Tuchel's a very good manager, but people that put him on a high pedestal because of everything, no thank you. Simple.
You know, Tuchel was linked at Southampton when he lost his job at Dortmund. He was linked with Southampton, and he refused to go to Southampton.
Yeah,
that says it all.
Yeah. So, Carl, where do you expect Newcastle to be next season?
I think they will be in the top half, like what Mason said, fighting for the Europa Conference League place. I think, Eddie Howe give credit because he, there was a lot of criticism when he was trying to get the gig at Celtic because of the scenario, what happened, as well, Doug. The scenario happened that he wanted more in the transfer situation, but the ball wouldn't let him, and also the backroom staff as well. And a lot of Celtic fans criticised him because he wanted his own way. But fair play to go to Newcastle because Newcastle will look for a manager. They try to get Emery. That didn't work. That was failed multiple times. But getting him took time, but he got the best out of the players who thought they were just not good enough, were good enough. And then getting players like Guimaraes, who I think is being a bit of a good signing. And I think that he understands the Newcastle fans now are realizing that mentality needs to change. The Newcastle fans demand a lot more than being in the bottom half. And that's what they are going to be seeing a lot more now come, from next season. I think they will get a few more players who are from 1 or 2 from Lyon because I know they've been linked. And I think they will go further, and I think they'll get DCL for Everton as well, actually, because that wouldn't be surprising at all. Yeah,
Dan, what about you?
Well, what was that? Sorry, I nipped to the bog.
That's all right. Thanks for sharing. Where do you think Newcastle come next season?
I think they'll be. It's hard because you want to say there'll be a surprise package, but then you think that's the wrong word to say because of the fact that they've got the money to do that. Right. It's a catch-22 situation with that sort of statement, but I don't know. I think any position better than what they've got. Chips. I just think any position better than what they've currently finished. It's steady progression, and I think that's the way they've got to look at it. They can't be looking at, that's it, we're going to have this major overhaul and things are going to change. Palace had a major overhaul after having Roy Hodgson, who steadied the ship for so many years, and they had a good run, but even they dropped off a little bit. We're not going to be seeing all this from Newcastle next year, where it's the constant jumping around, celebrating in the changing room with everyone together. It's going to be a new season, new beginnings, new dawn, new start, and Newcastle are going to have to shape up or shit out because, again, they could end up like Everton, where they throw money at it and it just doesn't work. So I don't know. I'd say anything better than what they finished. Anything better than what they finished, then I think they should be very happy with that.
So 2 teams now who I think have had very good seasons: Wolves and Brighton. Yeah, Brighton finishing 9th. Maisie, how impressive are you? How impressive have you been with Brighton and Graham Potter?
Brighton for me has probably been one of the most surprising teams in my opinion.
Yeah.
Graham Potter is such a great manager, but for me, he needs a challenge. If he wants to be the manager what everyone so rates in this guy, I'm not saying don't rate him, but if he wants to be one of the best. He needs to go to one of the best to prove what he can be. A lot of people are saying England manager, but he plays a back five as well. So Southgate ball, Potter ball is just going to be the same, isn't it? But in terms of Graham Potter, I think he's amazing. His away wins are incredible. I think it's third or fourth just on away wins he'd finish on. And that's a great achievement with this Brighton team. I think with me, I thought, right, they've lost out on Ben White. They had that bad run in January because they lost out on Dan Burn, and they didn't really replace either of them, to be fairly honest. So, and as well, I feel like they needed a goal scorer because I don't think Maupay, I don't even think Welbeck are really good enough to compete for top half of the table, in my personal opinion. And I think them kind of areas they do need to improve. They've got a brilliant midfield, and we've seen that in games. They completely dominate the midfield. We've seen them doing it against the top half of the table, them dominating the midfield. So we know what Brighton can do, but I think they do need that slight more investment, in my opinion. And as I've said, Graham Potter, great manager, but he needs a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. And Jamie, Wolves, I mean, Jose Sarr's been a very, very good signing. Funnily enough, though, they do have a striker who actually didn't score a single goal this season. Does anybody know who that is?
Silva.
It's Fabio Silva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got better hair than me. I know that. But Wolves are a good team, but I think they might struggle next season. I really do. And They don't score goals. This is Wolves' problem. They were very hard to break down. No one really battered them apart from Man City right at the end of the season. But apart from that, they never got battered by anybody. But
no,
they don't score goals. That's the problem. And I look at Wolves' players. I think Jimenez, he's not been fair since the injury. And to be fair, that injury was really bad. A fractured skull. I'm not surprised.
There is actual talk that Jimenez might be leaving.
Yeah,
there's talk that Jimenez might be
leaving.
leaving.
Yeah, that as well.
Wow.
Surprised.
Pedro Neto could be a big player for them next season if he stays fit. He could be a big player. But they need goals up top. If they can get goals into this team, it's exactly the same with Brighton. I look at Brighton, just missing that killer up front. If Brighton can get that killer up front, if Brighton had like a Jamie Vardy type striker in their team, I think Brighton would always be a top 10 Premier League side under Potter. But I agree with Maisie about Potter as well. I think he. Why do I want to say Potter in Harry Potter style? I don't know why.
Well, to be fair, we did actually have a question. Does the panel rate John Joe Shelby? So, and then George Kyle said that. George Kyle said that he was very good in the Harry Potter series. So that kind of.
But yeah, Wolves and Brighton. I think if Wolves and Brighton don't get us some goal scorers next season, I think especially more Wolves, I think might struggle a little bit. But Sarr's been absolutely fantastic. I thought they'd struggle when they got rid of their keeper.
Oh, guess who's turned up?
Yeah.
Chris, Leicester till I die. I'm not even going to read that out because it's just really bad. It is really, really bad. Anyway, but yeah, Carl, Dan, have you been impressed with both Wolves and Brighton?
Yeah, I've been more impressed with Brighton than Wolves, to be quite honest with you. I think I'm a bit surprised how Wolves were so poor towards the end, coming up towards it, thinking they're going to finish in the bottom half. And then somehow they popped up into the top half, which was surprising. It really was. And I agree, thinking they just, the way they was Brighton was going, they was on the holidays, weren't they? And it's like, okay, they're on the holidays, they don't care where they finish, they're safe in the Premier League. But now they finish in the top half, they get a bit more money from the prize money, which is, I think, important for them because they needed that so they could try it. Because, like Slack said, they need a striker who can score 15, 20 goals a season. And that's what Brighton has struggled. Along for Wolves, I think Wolves just been way too defensive in a way. I think with Jimenez, with the injury, like I said, Jerry, I think that was a killer of what before.
Ravi, apparently Real Betis.
It wouldn't be surprised, I think going to Spain could help him a bit decent to finish his career because, in a way, I think he needs that. I think the physicality after when the fractured skull got injured against David Luiz against Arsenal just lost his confidence a bit, and getting Huang, from Salzburg hasn't been the difference. And you do worry about
that doesn't bode well for the World Cup, Michael. Mexico are god awful at the moment. I have to admit, I did see their result the other day. I was like, oh dear.
Yeah,
but
it's bad, man.
The thing is, I go back to Jamie's comment. When Jamie said about goal scorers, like both sides, Brighton and Wolves, they've been missing goal scorers since the days of Bobby Zamora, Glenn Murray in terms of Brighton, and then you've got like the likes of Sylvan Ebanks-Blake and Kevin Doyle at Wolves. They've not had these, like Carl said, 15-goal a season strikers. They've tried to get lucky. They've tried to sign Morpay. It's not worked. He gets the odd one or two, but he doesn't flourish season in, season out. So something's got to be done. Again, similar to Palace. Palace are another side that need an out-and-out striker. It's just a case of, being able to find that when you're all in the hunt for one particular position.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I think what happens with Wolves as well is if they lose Ruben Neves, that is going to be huge for him because
he's just signed a new deal, hasn't he? I think. Oh no, that's
right. So that is interesting then because it was talks.
I'm not sure. I might be wrong. I think it's Pascal Gross that signed a new deal, not
that's
Neves.
massive. Pascal Gross is a massive.
At the moment, it's been a bit of a situation where his future's going to be because he's been linked a lot more than it has been the last couple of seasons since Wolves been back in the Premier League.
Yeah, very interesting.
As well, though, Wolves are actually linked to a couple of Sporting players, and especially if Neves does leave, he could go to us. But they're linked to Paulinho from Sporting, and he has got the third highest tackles in the Champions League, and they got knocked out in the round of 16. So if you look at that kind of respect, I think he would do very well in that Wolves side, to be fairly honest. So I think for me, it's just more down to looking for a proper striker.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Obviously, I know we've got a few Leicester fans in here. Maisie, they did enough to salvage their season. They did get. They got to a Europa Conference League semi-final. But 8th place, considering where people actually had them, I think people had them probably 4th, maybe even 5th. Has it been a bit of a disappointing season for Leicester?
I think when you do look at the Leicester side, they do have such good quality of Maddison, Harvey Barnes. I know they've missed out on injuries such as Fofana being injured. That's going to be a big, massive blow. But I think regardless of Fofana being injured, they've still got Johnny Evans, they've got Soyuncu in that centre-back role. I know James Justin's been injured, but they've got quite a few players for me in the squad who I think could do good enough in the team. I know, like I say, they've had so many injuries and there's been so many disappointing results, but I just don't feel like, for me, I think Leicester could have done better than what they have played. There was games what I think, like, that Leicester, the Arsenal game for me in particular, what does put a scream out for me. I feel like when you look at both them sides on paper, I do think Leicester could have come out with the win. I really do. Arsenal was extremely lucky on the day. Aaron Ramsdale made that magnificent save. So in respect, I think they've been unlucky, but at times I feel like they've been so poor as well. I think that they're screaming out for a right winger. I know they had Unda, who's currently at Marseille now, and I feel like they haven't really had someone since him to replace him. And I think if they had like a right wing player, I know James Maddison's been injured, someone to replace him.
I think in the end, if we have to say Leicester have overachieved the last 2 seasons. Let's put it this way: they have really overachieved. I think the way that Rodgers has done it as well, I think he's done a fantastic job at Leicester. And yes, I know he's got his problems with the set pieces, because I think was Martin Tyler that said that a set piece against Leicester is almost results in a goal almost. So I think with that being said, I think they definitely need to improve their set pieces. But I think some of the signs they made, Patson Daka is only going to get better. I think Lookman is definitely going to be a signing that looks like he's going to come back and play very, very well. But as far as West Ham's season is concerned, Jamie, it kind of petered out at the end. But what you have to say is, I think West Ham have had a fabulous season yet again. Europa League semi-final, I think that was very, very good. But do you worry about the squad depth at West Ham?
At West Ham, that's why David Moyes has done such a good job at West Ham this season. You look at that squad and that 11 as well. I don't even think the 11 for West Ham is that great. For them to be fighting top four for a lot of this season just goes to show the coaching and management that can be done with good managers that are allowed to do what they want with the team and give them time to do it. And it just shows that if you get someone like David Moyes in, what he's done at West Ham reminds me of what he did at Everton, to be fair.
Yeah.
Everton never had the best team in the world, but they always got to like fifth and fourth ones above us. So, yeah, what he's done at West Ham for me is really good this season. I mean, I think they finished seventh, got to a Europa League semi. Where I think they went wrong, and it's not down to David Moyes, this is down to the ownership. They needed to get him a striker in January. They got that man a striker in January. I think West Ham could have fought for top four all the way till the end of the season.
Mods, do your job, please.
Because I think that's what they were missing. They were missing that killer goal scorer up front, West Ham, especially from January onwards. Declan Rice, tremendous season. I think Declan Rice is a very, very good player. A little overhyped. I think he's a little overhyped, but I don't mean he ain't a very, very good footballer because Souček's a good midfielder as well. They've got good players all over the pitch. I think if they get a forward next season and they actually invest in this squad, I think West Ham could be decent. But looking back at now, West Ham might feel a bit gutted. They might feel a bit gutted because you look at that Europa League final and you've got to think if you're West Ham, I'd have had them winning that game. I really would have.
I would have fancied them winning against Rangers as well.
I think I look at that game. I look at it now, and if you're a West Ham fan, you might think back, if we just got that striker in January, we would have been maybe gone a little bit higher in the league by 1 or 2 places, and we could possibly have met Rangers in the Europa League final.
It's a good point, actually. That's a fair point, actually, that one, because because the striking situation West has been an issue for a long time, and they need to address that as well. Yes, they got a bit of the new ownership with the Czech billionaire coming in. Can he put a bit more to help the club? Will he help Moyes? Probably yes, because I think Gordon Sullivan will be gone by then.
I think Brian's summed up there. West Ham lost their heads when they were in the top 4 for 5 minutes. I think absolutely, indeed. I'm sorry to say this, but we are going to speak about these two. I know Maisie looks absolutely delighted about this. How the hell did you guys get 6th?
With no goal difference.
Pure luck. We don't deserve. I even said this. We don't deserve Champions League. We don't deserve the Europa League. I've literally got nothing positive to say. Everything from head to toe toxic. From head to toe. Let's just say that. First of all, what was the point in sacking Ole? Would he have done a worse job? No. He wouldn't have done a worse job. Might as well have just kept it until the end of the season. Ralph, he's had such an unbalanced team. He couldn't work how he wanted to play, and then we was looking forward to the future, going, "Oh, Ralph, we'll be able to have him in the board. He's going to help us with our assignments." What goes and happens? Ralph bloody done wants to do the Austria job. Like, come on! Oh my God, it's just absolutely ridiculous. The players do not care. Why we done this player of the season? None of them deserved it. I should get player of the season for having to put up with that crap for the past 38 games. Having to put up with crap in the Carabao Cup, put up with crap in the FA Cup. I deserve that player of the season award. I did.
Yeah. George Kyle says, disagree. I think we'd be getting ready for the championship next season. Wow.
Wow. George, I disagree with that one. I really do. I've really got to disagree with that one just because you know what? As much as I think Ollie, he isn't a good manager, but you know that he can turn it up when he really wants to. He really will turn up turn up, and the team. I think that they weren't so divided under Ollie. I think he had a tough step coming in, knowing how Jose Mourinho was. He had to build up the trust of the fans and the players, build up his own team. And I think it just got too much. He was one of them who could build a team, but he just couldn't go forward. Whereas with Ralph, God knows with Ralph, he just baited everyone out, and I loved it. I loved every single moment of it. But
I know, and you guys sacked him.
Yeah, we sacked him because we baited the Glazers out, we baited the board out, the players out, and it was just well deserved. And you know what? Ten Hag's got a massive job on his hands, and good luck to him. I love Ten Hag, but if our fan base is already turning against him. Already turning against him.
Already?
Yeah, I got tagged in a post by John, and a fan wanted Ten Hag out because reports were suggesting he wanted to keep Piera. And I said, how could you want this guy sacked over rumours that he wants to keep Andreas Piera?
Yeah. That is the age of a football fan right now, is that they play way too much FIFA. Sorry, has to be said.
Exactly.
Know what you mean?
I've got my PlayStation over there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, Dan. We'll obviously come on to Arsenal very, very shortly, but these two, I don't care what you have to say, but Man United have been very, very poor. Arsenal bottled top four. They had top four in their hands and they bottled it.
Speaks volumes of the Arsenal board when they already think Champions League football's in the bag. Arteta is king, new contract, that's it, trust the process. And then, honestly, I've seen processed ham last longer than Arsenal in the top four position. Honestly, it's Arsenal can look at this and think it's a sort of a semi-good season, but the fact that they've bottled top four probably outweighs the collective, and I think that's why Arsenal fans will be fuming.
You could argue that Arsenal came in and out the Champions League faster than Brexit.
Yeah, that was.
You could say that. You could say that, but Jamie, I know from obviously speaking to you and obviously speaking to Connor and obviously the lads at in Liverpool the other day. I know you weren't there. All of them don't rate Arteta. I think it's safe to say we all don't rate Arteta as a manager.
No, Arteta's crap, isn't it? It's just no getting away from it. Look, Arsenal are a victim of their own downfall, and their fan base don't help. Obviously, they have the biggest club football fan base in the world in AFTV, and I just don't think it helps the cause. I really don't think they help the cause at all. You know, you hear. I remember Arsenal fans. I remember going on loads of YouTube channels and everything like this, watching other channels, like massive channels and things like that, and watching it. And like Arsenal fans are saying, like, we're coming for Chelsea in third. And like they've just hit fourth place. They're coming for Chelsea in third. Third is on. And I'm listening to this thinking, you've got El Neni and Xhaka as your midfield too. Why do you think this is on? Where is this coming? I want to bottle Arsenal fans' confidence because you have that much confidence. It's unreal. I remember at the beginning of the season, Doug, you probably saw this yourself. When we played Arsenal at the beginning, like in the first game of the season, they did a 1-11, a combined 1-11, right? On Liverpool.
Sure, John.
And I thought, well, it's combined 11's all Liverpool. What are we doing here? And they put Ramsdale instead of Alisson. That was number one.
Oh, Christ, no.
Whoa.
Ramsdale, by the way, the most overrated goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life. Who makes easy saves look ridiculously difficult. You know, he gets a shot that comes straight at him and you go, like that. He's like a FIFA glitch.
Do you remember the game of the Emirates? Do you remember the game of the Emirates where I think Jota scored and it was like at Ramsdale's near post and like everyone was bigging up Ramsdale. Oh, Ramsdale's so good. Ramsdale's this, Ramsdale's that. But he's not better than Alisson. Come on.
No, but they think they are. And then they had said Gabriel and Ben White. By the way, Ben Love Island White. They thought was better than Alisson and Matip.
Sorry, Seaside Mustafi. No thanks.
It's just crazy. Look, Arsenal have done all right to get fifth. I've said this for a while now. I don't think Arsenal have actually progressed that much from the last 2 seasons. I think it's a bit of a myth. They played 1 game a week with no Europe. They went out the FA Cup quite early. Yeah, they went to the League Cup semi-finals and got obliterated. But they played 1 game a week and they still couldn't get top 4. And when I look at their squad compared to Tottenham's squad, I thought Spurs had an average squad. But looking at it, especially when the two played each other the other week, Spurs' squad was actually better. Arsenal got nothing up front. They just gave Eddie and Nketiah $100,000 a week. It's like they don't learn.
I know.
It's like they don't learn their lessons. They've let Lacazette go, obviously, now. For me, I think Aubameyang...
He's going back to Leon. So,
personally, I think Aubameyang should have stayed. I think you just bite the bullet and actually play Aubameyang where he's meant to damn play, and that's a number 9 right through the middle and not left wing. That's why he was getting annoyed. He's a goal scorer who's playing left wing, and because Arsenal are not a very good team, he doesn't see the ball. Because he doesn't see the ball, he's getting annoyed. Put him in the middle of the goal. I'm telling you right now, if Aubameyang played in the number 9 position all this season, Arsenal would have got top 4. Arteta's not a very good role. He's not a very good man management player. He's not very good at it.
No, the way you throw players under the bus, he's throwing Pepe under the bus because Pepe's going to go now this summer. And you know how much, this is the thing with Arteta. Arteta's got this arrogance. He's thinking, I just throw them under the bus. They won't be good when they go to other clubs. Look at Bobby. I think he's got about over plus 10 goals in Barcelona towards the end of the season, 10 plus goals towards, and that just shows how much the difference was of you not finishing the top 4, and then your Spurs still had Kulusevski and Bentancur, who actually made the difference in that team. What did Arsenal do in the January transfer? Nothing. He gave Nketiah a contract when he was thinking about leaving towards the end of the season. Yeah, is he going to be the number 9 next season? No, because you probably, and then you complain about we play too many games. You're going to play a game more next season because you can play a lot more games now because you're not in Europe. So don't complain about it. And I think it's his own downfall with this Arteta, because when you gave him the contract, I laugh so hard thinking, they're not going to be destined for top 4 next season or the season after, So
I don't see Arsenal in top 4 next season either. By the way, I just don't.
I must say something though that Arteta's done well. He got rid of the troublemaker, Aubameyang. Once he got that 350k.
We with that one. I know he was a bit troublemaker, but would he made a difference better than Lukaku?
He should have stayed. I look at it like this. He played Aubameyang on the left wing when Arsenal were not having the ball and getting it out to the left wing. That's why Aubameyang was annoyed. You put Aubameyang right through the middle as number 9, and I'll tell you right now, if they did that, they'd be 4th right now. It's bad man management by Arteta. He can't manage. Don't get me wrong, Aubameyang is a problem. Don't get me wrong. But you manage it through the whole season, don't you?
Yeah.
And then a little bit in the summer.
Somehow that Tuchel did that with Lukaku towards the end of the season. He just managed. That's all he needed to do.
And then you deal with it, in the summer. Exactly. That's the way you do it.
Yeah, definitely. We will come on to Chelsea and Spurs, because Spurs managed to get top 4. Was that because of Kulusevski coming in, Maisie, or was it because of Conte?
You know what? I actually think it's because of Conte. I think Conte, he really did show that, right, I am the boss here, because this Spurs squad, I think that they was very loose in terms of the behaviour, their attitude. You could see it on the pitch, and the Harry Kane situation at the beginning, it wasn't good for Nuno. And he had to play Son up front. I'm not discrediting that at all, but and the signings such as Brian Gill, bringing a young Brian Gill for this Spurs squad, I think there was bad signings, and you could say that was down to Lever. But you look at Conte. Conte was so strict with these players in terms of training. He was strict with them in terms of the food, the management, and I think he even made rules there with Leeds saying, I want this player, this player. And you see the players who did come in from in January and even now, these are Conte signings. So you can see that Conte is really putting the law down in Tottenham. And that's what you need to do as a manager if you want to succeed. And if you want to win trophies, you need to show that I want to be backed. If I'm not being backed, I'm doing one. And that's exactly what Conte is doing. And I think Kulusevski has been absolutely outstanding. Getting rid of Dele Alli, a good choice. Just as Jose Mourinho said, lazy player. He's spot on. He is a lazy player. And I think that the only thing I will criticise Conte with, he called Eric Dyer world class. And I have never forgiven him for that.
Eric Diabolical. Yeah. Enough said. Jamie, this is your time to have your
I'm trying to get
take on Chelsea.
I'm trying to get what Chris means by that. It's rent-free in my head. I couldn't give a shit about Chelsea. Look, with Chelsea, the reason I go on at Chelsea so much, like Michael was saying as well, Michael talks football, big up to you, my friend. What I'm saying about Chelsea, this is where I get it from. In the beginning of the season, everyone told me Chelsea will go rival Man City for this Premier League. Yeah. They had the squad to compete with Man City. They had the manager to compete with Man City. They just won the Champions League. So they go and defeat Man City for this Premier League title. It's got to be them two. Yes, Chelsea started well. Chelsea also started well under Sarri a few seasons ago as well, by the way, and then fell away as well, exactly the same way. I think Chelsea are a very good club. Obviously, their sugar daddy's left no more. No more sugar daddy. He's gone now. You know, Chelsea there was a decent club before Sugar Daddy coming on. I'm not going to say his name for proper reasons. We shouldn't mention that man's name. But Sugar Daddy's left. And before that, they did all right. Don't get me wrong. Gianluca Vialli changed Chelsea around with what he did. And then Ruud Gullit came in. And it was really good. But it weren't what they are the last 20 years. And I think next season they might spend a little big. But after that, Chelsea will be like all the other American-owned Premier League clubs in this country. And it won't be the spending that they're so used to over there. And when I look into next season with Chelsea Football Club, I think they need a big summer because they're going to lose a lot of players, especially in their back line. Quetta is going to go. He's been a big leader for them and a great player and a servant. Rudiger, who's probably the most improved centre-back in the league, but he does play in a back three, so it does hide his weaknesses a little bit. And Christensen, pillow feet Christensen's going as well. I've never seen a softer pair of feet in my life. And he's going as well. And they've got to replace them three as well. So when I look at the way Spurs finished the Premier League, Conte means business because Conte's short-term for long-term success. So Conte will just come in and look at the players he's already getting. He's getting Perisic, who's 33, 34 at the beginning of the season, I believe. He's going to play left wing-back. And people will go, what, 33, 34-year-old?
This guy is an absolute phenomenal. He is amazing.
And I can guarantee you right now, Perisic will have one of the highest running stats in the Premier League next season. It don't matter of his age. Look at people. I always hear, when you're in your 30s, you're finished, you're gone. All the best players in the world right now, by the way, are in their 30s. So that's not a thing. And I think Spurs will look to capitalise on Chelsea's misfortunes, what's happened to them this season. And they could really be fighting out for third and fourth because I don't see the top four being any different as it finished this season.
I don't either. Carl, I am going to ask you this question. Pound for pound, is Romelu Lukaku the worst bit of business a Premier League club's ever done?
100%. Yeah. What if you're not going to play to strength? What was the point you buying him for? What was the point to prove to say to Liverpool, we're going to come get you? It was just laughable. You saw the first 2-3 games. It started to work well for Lukaku, and then all of a sudden you didn't see him play as much. And then in that interview that he did with Sky Italia, it just said it all the way he went about it. Someone from from Jay-Z's Rock Nation Sports authorized that interview. I don't think Chelsea didn't know about that interview, and I feel sorry for them in the situation. But I think Tuchel just lost a bit when you're not playing players like you get players like Saul on loan from Atletico Madrid. You only had, I think, 5 appearances all season. It just sums up thinking you didn't know how to fix the midfield part, which was questionable. So I just thought,
Nathan, congratulations, Wales. Congratulations. They're going to the World Cup for the first time since 1958. Congratulations. I bet you enjoyed that game yesterday. Yes, I know it was an own goal that obviously won the match, but what we have to say, Hennessy was amazing. And I just think Wales wanted it more yesterday, and congratulations to Wales. I think they've been absolutely fantastic, and I hope you've not got plans to go to Qatar though, because let's be honest, that a World Cup in winter is ridiculous, beyond the extreme. But no, you have to say well done Wales, and if it wasn't Scotland, I would want Wales to do it anyway. But you know what, fair kudos to Ukraine as well. But definitely. Saul was bad before the season started. He was underwhelming 2021. Yeah, I believe he's gone back to Atletico. Is that right?
Yeah, he has now. Because I think when he was at Atletico, he was playing on the right back, as I recalled it. I remember this quite well actually. And Simeone just lost to that completely. Chelsea's season, it's been underwhelming because it just felt like they couldn't get out of first gear, and it was just so bad. I'm thinking, especially, I don't know, with the Lukaku situation, it baffled me so much the way he bought it for, where you could still have Werner and Havertz, who's probably your best preferred up front, and I think the way they went out of the Champions League as well to Real Madrid when they had chances to kill the game off, but Real Madrid found a way to come back, and I think Tuchel was just disappointed, and to even get to the finals, to both the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, to draw 2-0-0s, it just shows Tuchel is not a better manager than Klopp. And when as we spoke about earlier, Jimmy, it just shows that Tuchel can't be better than Klopp if you can't win big games.
I just wanted, like Michael just said about Jamie, so Tuchel's done wrong this season. Right, Michael, it's all love, my friend. I love you the bits. I love your show as well. It's just, I just disagree with you, my friend, and that's allowed. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. And Tuchel, for me, I just get a bit annoyed. Look, Tuchel, I think he's a good manager. I just don't think he's at an elite level that everyone keeps telling me he is. I've just not seen no proof of that yet. But I think he's a very good manager. Look, I think everyone called him the best in-game tactician in the Premier League last season. And I don't know where that came from. Yeah, a lot of people did. They said he was the best in-game tactician in the Premier League. And
wow.
when I just don't see the proof of that. I really don't. Look, he lost Chilwell, or Chigwell as I like to call him. And
Chigwell.
It just he looks like an Essex boy, doesn't he? And he just didn't for me coach that well enough to keep that going for that title. That's just my opinion. When I look at Chelsea's squad, I do think if Jurgen Klopp was in charge of Chelsea's squad, they wouldn't have fell 18 points where it was behind Man City. I think they would have been a lot closer, in my opinion. So that's what I'm basing it on. That's what I'm basing it on.
We have to talk about the amazing title race that happened. I mean, City did get pipped Liverpool once again, 93 to 92 points. But you have to say, Dan, these two are absolutely relentless.
Yeah, you can't put it any better. I think you've got to feel bad for Liverpool fans in a sense, taking away that, whatever club you support, that, the time that you won it, basically there were no fans in stadiums, no fans there to see you lift the trophy. So to sort of do a bit of a Burnley, really, fall at the final hurdle, which you couldn't help anyway. It's Manchester City, it's different kettle of fish. But yeah, it'd have been nice, obviously, for you guys to see it again, and in person this time. But Man City are always going to be up your backside now, and the fact that they've acquired Haaland for next year, it's going to be the task is going to be made a little bit more difficult. I just think, though, that Liverpool have this nice, cushy way of going under the radar and just doing their business because everybody's talking about Manchester City. And Liverpool could just go about it. That's why everyone was saying at the start of the season, everyone's saying, "Oh, Chelsea's going to be up there for title contenders." And then, nobody started talking about them after about 3 or 4 games because they realised, they're still shit. So, I like the way Liverpool's model is, the way it's going. And hopefully for you guys, that'll continue and Klopp's the man to deliver that second one.
Fingers crossed. I mean, that is my hope anyway. But no, congratulations to Manchester City. It has to be as well. But I have to say this. I do think it will be a lot closer next season as well. First, I think there was like was it something like 15 or 18 point gap between second and third? Like that's way too much as well. But we'll see what Holland wants and how he will do for sure. Right,
fair shout to Liverpool as well. You've got another season at home unbeaten.
Yeah. That is very, very true. So I do have a few questions to ask you guys before we do end up. Who is everyone's player of the season for their respective clubs? Because for me, Alisson Becker was hands down Liverpool's player of the season for me.
Maisie's like me; she's going to struggle.
You'd have to say De Gea or Ronaldo, surely.
For Liverpool, it was either Alisson or Virgil van Dijk. They're the two. This Virgil van Dijk, but can I just pick up Virgil van Dijk a minute? The man came back from a serious injury, still showed the world how good he is. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And I have a lot of arguments with people online about defending because I think people think defending is all about tackling when it's not. Defending is about defending your space and not letting the attacker get into that space to score goals. And no one does that better than Virgil van Dijk. It's like Palio Maldini used to say, his famous quote is, "If I made a tackle, I made a mistake." And that's what the art of defending is. And no one does that better than Virgil van Dijk. And to be nominated for Player of the Year when he came back from an injury like that, just incredible. But like Matip had a great season, but Matip without Virgil van Dijk is nothing, in my opinion. We've seen it in games when Virgil didn't play and Matip was playing with like a Canate. It didn't look the same. Virgil just leads the line. He tells everyone where to be, when to push up, when to drop back. Yeah, he's going to make mistakes because he's not a robot. Everyone makes mistakes. But yeah, it's Alisson or Virgil for me. Alisson or Virgil.
Doug, Sebastian's comment there?
Yeah.
Sebastian's comment that he put up there. And obviously he says how I do get what he's saying, that people shouldn't be scared of Haaland next season because we don't know. He's a bit of an unknown quantity when it comes to playing in the Premier League. But the fact that you says, he'll get 15 to 20 goals, that's fine. 15 to 20 goals ain't going to be too bad when you've got a team of people that like to score as well. So whether he gets 15 to 20 goals...
I did see the Sweden-Norway game, and there was a penalty given in that game where... Guess who the referee was, ladies and gentlemen? Anthony Taylor gave a penalty for a dive that was never a penalty and had Stuart Atwell on VAR. English referees, people. English referees. Carl, who was Leeds' player of the season for you?
One person. It's Rafinha. He was the only one who had to make the difference because none of the players couldn't step up. He stepped up in the second season with questions, but can he step up because he was going in the number 10 shirt as well, taking over Alioski, which was always going to be like, can he do it? Can he improve it? And he proved that he was a difference to make us stay up because without him, I think we would have struggled to go down. And you know, when people were questioning about his commitment, he was committed. He's not been complaining. He just got on what he needed to do. And that's what the difference was. Even though he could make a difference to try to assist or score a goal, I think he did a lot more shots than he had than last season. And you know, I don't think it would have been the same without him. Actually, without goals, he was our top goal scorer this season as well. And I see what George was saying. He gets Messi, but I think Meslier, despite the goals, but I think Rafinha makes it because he was the difference to get Leeds out this situation it was in. You know, Meslier conceded a lot of goals. That's a lot on him, but he did make the most saves, which a lot of people don't realize as well. So I think he's broken that back. He's broken that record as well. You know, so listen, I think Rafinha has been my player for the season for Leeds.
Dan, Burnley.
It's got to be Nick Pope. I mean, without him, we probably would have been in a worse situation than what we were. Taking it to the last game, some of his saves have been pivotal into taking it to that last fixture. So, yeah, we've got to be Nick Pope for me, and it's going to be sad to see him go in the summer.
Yeah, definitely. And I will answer this one. Moment of the season. For me, I'm sorry to say this, Maisie. You know what's coming. It has to be Man United and Liverpool 5. I mean, to go to the biggest rivals that you've had for since the 70s and 80s, to go and beat them 5-0. I actually felt sorry for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that day. He looked a beaten man. He looked like he just wanted to get out of there with his dignity intact. And unfortunately, that for me. Like the 5-0 I thought was embarrassing. The 4-0, Man United never even gave an attempt to beat Liverpool that day as well. So, Maisie, I know there's been loads of bad moments with Man United, but has there been a good moment this season?
I'll name one good moment. The season ended. That is my good moment. The season ending. The start of the season Leeds where we Carl, but Bruno hat-trick, Paul Pogba 4 assists, United fans jumping on the bandwagon, we're gonna win the league, and then Newcastle, we come through, we win 4-1, Ronaldo scores at his debut, yes, it's coming home, we've got all these fans back, Ronaldo's home, we're gonna win the league. And then it went downhill ever since. Ollie got sacked. Ralph come in, he got sacked. Everything went downhill, and my best moment was the season ended. Honestly, it is.
That's fair enough. Jamie, what's your moment of the season?
I would say the 5-0 against United. I don't want to pick on United anymore. I'm going to go at Christian Eriksen coming back and playing top 5 football. After what we saw of Christian Eriksen, I just want. He's lucky. The man's lucky to even be alive. Let's face it. And then he came back and he's playing top flight football. That is the moment.
I have to say as well, there was a really funny moment. I think it was when Norwich were playing Brentford, and Brandon Williams. He's been doubted as this player who's got really, really bad aggression. Fouls Christian Eriksen, goes to fight him, and then realizes who it is and gave him a little hug. I just thought that was fantastic.
Hilarious.
Carl, I know there's not been many for Leeds, but have you got a moment of the season?
Good one. I have to say it has to be Christian Eriksen getting back on the pitch after the crowd this year. I can't forget anything else. And the one thing I could say for Leeds, is Joff actually doing that little flick. That helped give an assist to Patrick Stroke in the penalty game against Brighton to save it. That was a vital point for Leeds that stayed up. But in general, I think Eriksen deserves it to get back on the pitch because that 6 months later we didn't know, but his football career was going to continue now. And to come back to the Premier League for Brentford, it's been amazing. For the first game watching him, it was just like this is what football is supposed to be about. You don't get a second chance. And he got a second chance because,
Definitely. Dan, have you got any good moments this season?
You know what? It could be seen as a good moment or a bad moment, but looking at it from a club perspective, I'm going to say the sacking of Dash was probably the moment of the season. It came at a very strange time, but it paid off. In the sense that it gave us that sense of belief to have the freedom to go out and try and at least stay up. Now, if we'd have done that in January, who's to say that, we could have been sat in a different scenario, still playing Premier League football. But for me, it was a very ballsy move at the time. It was very difficult because we didn't know what was what. And I just thought, Alan Pace, you dickhead, what have you done? But obviously, in the long run, yeah, it probably gave us that small glimmer of hope that just wasn't to be. So, yeah, that's got to be my moment from a club perspective.
I must say the win against Watford was quite good.
I was going to say, like, the wins against Watford, the 3-2 against Everton, but then they were curtailed by the fact that the week after we went to Norwich thinking that game was, you know, it was an instant win for us before we've even kicked a ball, and we got beat 2-0. So it sort of dampened that feeling of the win against Everton.
I'm going to say another good moment of the season. Mike Dean, John Moss, Martin Atkinson, all retiring. Bye-bye, good riddance.
No, do you know what? Let me tell you something. I say this from Huddersfield because I felt sorry for my fellow friends from Huddersfield. Huddersfield should have got not just one, probably 2 penalties. And then John Moss decided to go not to it. What was the point of having the VAR in the playoff finals where you were not going to use it? It was just pointless. And I felt sorry for some Huddersfield fans because I know they're good Huddersfield fans and I have good, relationships with them. It was just so bad the way it turned out the end with that, But I thank those clowns are retired because they haven't been the last few years has been embarrassing. It's been a joke. That's why we're not the best officials in the world anymore. Like we used to years and years ago.
I'd love to know if the police took the piss a little bit. When they went to his record shop after it got burgled not long after. I'd love to have been the copper that went there going, well, we're not going to know who the culprit is until we can see VAR.
I know.
Very, very good. And on that note, we will end there. Thank you to each and every one of you who's watched the Premier League shows this season. It's been fantastic. And a big, big thank you to my panel. Maisie, big thank you for coming on. And I'm sure I'll get you on more as the season follows on. Where can people find you?
Thanks for having me on, Doug. It's been great. And my YouTube channel there is Devils United. And you can find me on my Twitter, which is at 2_ and UFC Maze.
Absolutely. Jamie, thank you very much for coming on. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at Jamie Phillips Football Chat, guys. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Carl, thank you very, very much. I'll definitely be seeing you very, very soon as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 26 days, man. It's just the clock is ticking, so the countdown has really, really begun.
Yeah, certainly has. And Dan, you will always be welcome on this channel. As I said at the start, wherever Burnley are, whatever division you guys are in, you will always be welcome. So, where can people find you?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. It's nice to get back into the swing of things a little bit. So, yeah, thanks for giving me a platform to do that. And yeah, you can find me at Turf Morehouse. And yeah, I'll be doing championship content. As well as I'm sure I'll be doing a lot more than just the shit league.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, these guys are absolutely fabulous friends of mine, and everyone does a very, very good job on their platforms. But yeah, guys, that sums up the 21-22 season. It's been another fabulous season. We all kick off again in about 8 weeks' time. I will be live on the 16th of June when the fixtures are announced. This will probably be my earliest stream ever. I think I'm going to go live probably about 8:40 in the morning because the fixtures are announced at 9 o'clock.
Don't you? Right.
I'm doing same week after for championship ones. I'm like 8:45. Yeah, I've set it already.
That is very, very early. I must say. Anyway, but no, guys, thank you very much for watching. What I will say is that streams will be very sporadically spread out. I think the next stream probably I will be doing is that obviously that Premier League fixtures announcement when it comes out. But thank you to the support for all the support this season. We are getting ever so closer to 1.9k. If we can get there before the start of the season, I'll be so glad as well. But thank you to everyone who's watched this season. And yeah, I'm off for a lie down. I will see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now. Enjoy your summer. Cheers. Bye-bye.